Ladies and gentlemen, let's hear it. Future NFL Hall of Famer and one of our greats ever in Philadelphia sports, someone who does know what it means and what it's like to win a championship, Mr. Jason Kelce. Jason, good morning.
Good morning.
How are you, pal?
How's everyone doing? This is fun.
This is Red October, man.
Yeah.
This is what it's about. Because you know the deal, Jason. You played for a long time. You made the playoffs a decent amount, but there's only so many chances you get, and some players get zero chances.
Yeah.
With an extremely supreme team.
Yeah.
You had two cracks at a supreme team, 17 and 22.
Yeah.
You guys were top 2 or 3 of the NFL, and obviously won. 20. These guys have a real shot this year, Jason.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, and I think both of those years were really just like magical in a lot of ways for us, and getting there is so hard, and so many things have to go right, and in football, there's. It's one or done, so it's even more like heightened. There's not like these series that tend to, I think, push the truly who are the better teams forward. Like a lot of times it's kind of like who's the best team on that day, which I really love about the football postseason. But there's something about playoff baseball that just resonates so much, I think, with everyone across the country. It's like, America's pastime.
Yeah.
It's so ingrained in us, and I don't know that there's. The playoffs are just fantastic.
Let me give you what it's always reminded me of, Jason. By the way, let me say Jason brought to us as he is today, and of course today at Chickie's and Pete's, and with us for the next hour, Jason brought to us by his beer, Garage Beer. The Garage always open, light beer like it used to be. Find Garage Beer at your local retailer or at drinkgaragebeer.com. That's drinkgaragebeer.com, official beer of the Kelce brothers and dads everywhere. Jason, here's what playoff baseball has always reminded me of. Popping champagne. And here's why. Mm-hmm. There's a lot of pressure when champagne gets popped. And for a long time, sometimes years, it doesn't get popped at all. Like a baseball season is long.
Yeah.
It is not like football where we get, for many years, 16 games or now 17. And like Sunday is, once a week. Like a lot, like we're hardcore baseball, but there's a lot of people like, I'll check out an inning. I'll check them out next week. I'll be away on vacation. Like, baseball,
sure.
Like, when you get to the postseason, it goes from being very relaxed to very not relaxed very quickly.
For sure.
And I love that about postseason baseball.
Of course, and especially here. The bank is, it's been just absolutely, bedlam, whatever they've been.
Yeah, that's right.
But it's renowned. Like multiple people when I've been out, they're like, what is it like truly in the postseason in Philadelphia? And, it's special down there. It's going to be awesome. I can't wait. I grew up an Indians fan or Guardians fan, and it was just we were really good in the 90s. Charlie Manuel and a lot of people that ended up coming to the Phillies after that.
Yeah, that's right.
Were who I grew up with, and it was just there's something about playoff baseball when it's really clicking that it just invigorates and takes hold of a city in a completely different way.
Jason, speaking of playoffs, we'd sure love to have a playoff football team, and a lot of people teetering now. So we had a poll earlier this week, 61% saying not a playoff team. Look, time will tell, but give me your sense of, your concern now with how the team looks. I mean, I know no one cares more than you do.
Yeah.
But man, it's been pretty rough out of the gate.
Yeah, I think it's been rough. It's been up and down. I mean, they're 2-2. Both sides of the ball have showed, times of playing really good football, and both sides of the ball have shown times of playing really bad. And I think this past game they were really bad on both sides. Offensively, missing their 2 best perimeter players, that hurts, especially when you're playing a defensive coordinator like Todd, who, he's not going to let you go in and be one-dimensional. Like, I know everybody's like, hand the ball off to Saquon. I think it's going to be very, very hard, especially given what he was doing up front. And I think it's difficult going up to a place where you've struggled without horses on the outside and trying to have success. That being said, they should have done better than they did. Yeah. That's just the reality of it. Like, it was like 0 to 255 yards at one point. Like, that's an embarrassment, right? And they're going to be hard at work to fix that. And then defensively, it's just so crazy seeing the 2 extremes of what happened against the Saints and then what happened against Tampa Bay. And I guess the one positive to look at would be, if they can do that to the Saints, they have some really good pieces there, because I don't think you can do that to an opposing offense without having good players. But just a really, really it was really hard to watch, to be honest with you.
Jason, why does it feel like Kellen Moore and the offense haven't held to the standard of change that we saw in week one? What I mean by that is week one, we were seeing more pre-snap motion. We were seeing more Jalen under center. Mm-hmm. And now it feels like over the course of the first month of the season, the offense has sort of reverted back to, less of that stuff.
Sure.
And more simplicity and more stagnance. Stagnance?
I think that
yeah,
works.
Stagnation? Stagnation,
yeah,
maybe?
maybe either one.
I get what you're saying.
Yeah.
That's the important part. Yeah.
That is the important part.
I think, there's – first of all, I don't know truly, why that's happened. I think that, one, all offseason they were really hard at work trying to figure out how to incorporate all these pieces.
Yeah.
So it makes sense going into week one, you're going to try all these new different motions and things like that, and there's probably things that worked well that they liked, and there's probably things that they didn't like and they took it out. Mm-hmm. I think they're missing guys, and whenever you're missing guys, I think you have a tendency as a coach to try and incorporate the new pieces so they feel comfortable and they can play fast, which is something that I don't know that we did see on either side of the ball, which is frustrating. Mm-hmm. So I think there's probably multiple things, but between guys being out and trying to incorporate that, and between trial and error from how the season had gone to that point, they're probably trying to run with the things that they think they have the best shot at executing.
The turnovers, it's so inexplicable.
Yeah.
I guess, can you try to explain it? The numbers are crazy. Jalen, once upon a time, I thought that was his greatest strength.
Yeah,
not turning the ball over, and now it feels like his and our offense's greatest weakness. Why is that?
I don't. I think that the turnovers, if you look at them as to how they've happened, the one good sign to me is that they haven't been outside of week one. Week one, yes, there were bad decisions made and poor throws that happened in that game. But since then, I haven't seen that. And those are the ones that are really throwing into bad coverage, throwing balls to guys that don't have any business being thrown that ball. Those are the ones that are really concerning when you're watching, and I don't see that. The ones more recently have been the fumbles, which, listen, he's got to put two hands on the ball and have more awareness. Obviously, the guy runs right by him. He's still there, but he's trying to make a play late. But I think that the fumbles are things that it's harder to know how to coach that. It's just put two hands on the ball and have better awareness. But he's not throwing the ball, in my opinion, into dangerous areas. Other guys haven't been really turning it over outside of the muff punts, which that's a whole nother thing.
Yeah.
It was a comedy of errors, honestly, in that first game across the board. It was hard. Yeah.
All right, Jason Kelce with us. So a lot on the Eagles, obviously, with Jason here. Again, you can join us at Chickies and Pete's. It's a big Phillies pep rally also. It's a 13-and-a-half-hour broadcast. Now, we're 4 of those 13-and-a-half hours, but the station will be doing all the shows all the way through 7:30 tonight. You can join us, of course, on the phone lines, also 215-592-9494 from this Red October Chickies and Pete's pep rally. Let me tell you, you can enjoy the new Kelce combo at Chickies, crafted by Jason. It includes craft fries,
crafted by you,
a barbecue burger, and garage beer. Tell us about that, Jason.
That's great.
That sounds like good stuff right there.
We, I don't know if a lot of people know this, but Pete always offered the back of this establishment up to former players or families, current players after games. And
were you supposed to say that on the air?
I don't know, but I just did, so whatever. Am I allowed to say that, Pete?
Now it's going to get flooded, and now Pete's going to need 37 new security guards on Sundays at 5 o'clock.
But we've always grown up. Whenever my family's in town, or whenever, which was a lot early on in my career, especially. And then we would go to the back, and you'd hang out after the games, and it'd be a place for all the guys to kind of decongest from this intense matchup that you've been waiting for all week, and you just got done pouring it all on the field, and you get to go back there, eat some food, hang out with everybody. That's where I first met Ava, actually. And
shocking in a bar.
And I used to love the barbecue burger and the crab fry, so it felt like the right thing to combine here.
I love it. Well, we love at WIP, obviously, our association with Chickies and Pete's. I mean, Pete's awesome, and it's just an amazing establishment. Be here all through October for just, every television you can imagine. It's going to be tuned to the Phils, and you can join us right now on the phone lines and be here over the next many hours as WIP broadcast from here. Reminder, station announcement coming up in about an hour. 8:40 today, station announcement, which will include a special guest joining us on set in an hour. Let's go to the phones. Gary in Whitehall right now. Rob Thompson with us in 15 minutes. Good morning, Gary.
Morning, everybody. How we doing today?
Doing great, Gary.
Excited, Gary. We got playoff baseball in 2 days. Oh, and by the way, the Eagles can't lose. The Eagles actually can't lose this weekend.
And it's Red October, Joe. It's Red October. Yes. And, I kind of agree with what you said, Joe, about how Topper was explaining with Sanchez and Noah going through the stats. And, the home ERA compared to the road ERA with Sanchez. But you know how Topper is with his analytics. Righty-lefty is actually probably the way to go.
Well, here's the problem with that. I think Aaron Nola is better. And I want Aaron Nola to start more in October than Christopher Sanchez. So my inclination is Nola, but I know people have been very split on this, and I know that based on what Rob Thompson said yesterday, well, he didn't declare it. It sure sounded like it's going to be Christopher Sanchez, and maybe in 15 minutes when he joins us on the show, we'll find out it is. But, I mean, Gary, I worry less about splitting righty and lefties. I worry more about having the best pitcher pitch the most often. That's just.
I agree with you.
But Gary, I will say there's a great argument. There is a great argument, not only for Sanchez at home getting the second start, but for Nola, particularly if it's a hostile environment like, I was going to say Shea. What is it, Citi Field?
Wasn't
Citi Field. Like, that's, do I trust, like, I'm going to put it this way. I trust Aaron Nola more in Game 2, and I trust Aaron Nola more in Game 3. So it's just a matter of which way do you want to split
Absolutely.
it up. He only gets one of the two starts.
Wasn't Christopher Sanchez's last start at home?
It was.
And
yes.
it wasn't good.
It wasn't great.
Christopher Sanchez is a small sample size, and he's been outstanding in that small sample size. But, man, we know who Aaron Nola is. And I would rather have that guy pitch games for us in the postseason.
Okay, but
it's close, but I'm tipping my hat to Aaron
I
Nola.
am too, but Gary, I will give you another pro-Sanchez argument. We didn't know who Aaron Nola in October was until we saw him get a true, real start 2 years ago in October, and he shined, and he shined again, and he shined again. I mean, there's an argument that Christopher Sanchez, who's younger, and this year was largely better, that this is actually just his time to step into that. I mean, that happens in sports. I mean, just because David Cohn was the Yankees' main starter in 1996 doesn't mean he's their main starter in 1999. There's a passing of the torch in sports. Maybe it is Christopher Sanchez's time.
Roger Clemens comes along. You never know what's going to happen.
Yeah.
All right, Gary, give me an answer. What's red, my man?
Oh, either way, I don't care. Go Phillies.
Great answer. That's great. All right, let's listen to Dave Dombrowski. Ben, I want to get your assessment of what Dombo said here. This was a couple days ago, I think, maybe 2 days ago. So Dave Dombrowski talked recently about what could be different this year comparative to the last 2 years when they went on great runs, but ultimately came up short in the end. Here's Dombrowski recently on a potential difference.
What's weighed more heavily in the decision on the starting pitchers, the second starter?
James, Joe, cut that off. We'll get to that in a moment. We'll get that audio situated. In the meantime, let's go to the phones. Jason Kelce with us also. Let's talk to Glenn in Center City. Good morning, Glenn.
Let me tell you guys something. Did you see the movie Aliens?
Yes.
Yeah, great movie.
You know all the Marine Corps people that was in that movie, Hicks, all them
Yeah,
cats,
Bill Paxton, Crusher.
They all just left my house.
Okay.
Where are we going?
Where are we going? Where are we going?
Good question,
Glenn,
Jason.
Glenn, you got Jason asking you, where are we going here?
Let me tell you something.
All right.
I'm sleeping in bed, listening to WIP 6 in the morning. They're banging on my door. Boom, 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 boom. Open the door, open the door. Man, open the door. It's like 18 cops, guns drawn and everything. I'm like, oh my God, am I going to be a statistic this morning?
Yeah, I'm confused. Are you saying you think there's too much Philly? Hold on, Glenn, hang on. Are you saying you think there's too much Phillies worry in the air? I'm just trying to understand what you're saying here.
I don't know, bro, but all I know is they wasn't looking for me. They was looking for one of my ex-girlfriends.
All right, Glenn. We appreciate the call. 215.
So that was a real story.
I'm here to talk Red October. And if you're not going to make the point, what's
Wow.
the point? All right, so let's listen to Dombrowski. Here's Dave Dombrowski.
Nice little segue.
I know.
Yeah.
Good luck with that, though. Good luck sorting that.
Here is Dombrowski this week
Poor
talking
guy.
about what could be different this year.
In your opinion, what really separates this team between the 22 and 2023 iterations that's going to fuel this team to potentially win their first World Series in 2000?
Well, I mean, one thing you could say, I do think we're even a little deeper than we've been in the past. That's one thing. Secondly, I think that our bullpen's better, deeper. I think we have a good 4 starting pitchers now, for sure. And I do think that the experience can be beneficial to you too, but only to an extent. I mean, you still have to go out there and have to do it. But I think all those factors can come into play, and it's just, you're talking about a little bit that can make a difference.
Ben, I know you said earlier you're really confident in this team. I mean, this is the best Phillies team they've had the last 3 years, which also means it's the best Phillies team they've had since 2011.
Yeah, they are deeper, and the bullpen is better, and that really shortens the game. So if you have a guy that's starting pitcher, with the exception of, I'm going to say Wheeler, who let him go as long as he can, you can shorten that game. And these guys have not been used a whole lot because the starting pitching has been so good throughout the course of the season. They've been going deeper in the ball games. They're saving the bullpen. These guys are fresh going into October, and that's a big deal. That is a big deal.
Well, so listen, it does help, and the starting pitching is the main thing, but there are decisions to make. Ben, let's get you on the record on some of these key decisions and what they should be. So our Twitter poll yesterday, we had 3 different polls. Game 2 starter, Nola or Sanchez. Nola got 55% of the vote, Sanchez 45%. Which should you go with?
I'd go with Sanchez.
And give me the quick why.
Because it's simple home and away records. He's got a 5 on the road ERA. He's got a 2 at home. Those numbers speak volumes.
All right, second question from yesterday. Who should be the second baseman against left-handed pitchers? 56% said Bryson Stott. 44% said Edmundo Sosa.
Sosa. He's got an 861 OPS against lefties. Stott has a 595. That's drastic.
That is drastic. Third question from yesterday. Center field against a left-handed starting. Marsh against the lefty.
Marsh.
Even if he's probably going to go 0 for 4 or 1 for 4 at best.
He gives you a better chance offensively. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. And if you have a lead,
Johan Rojas makes that one play that could change the game.
Like that Braves game where he made that play.
I'll take my chances.
But he also can go
Marsh,
0 for
Marsh is no slouch in center field.
But he's a slouch against lefty hitters.
He got better.
He's a slouch.
He got better as the
Pitchers,
season. As the season went on, he got better against lefties. Not great, but it gives you a better chance. I'm sorry. It's just the way I feel.
Would you defensive replace
yes.
late with him?
Yeah, absolutely I would, yes.
All right, Ben,
Would you wet your hair?
Would I wet my hair?
I like Brandon Marsh.
Absolutely not.
Ben, do you buy my theory that Kyle Schwarber as a left fielder should be on the table if the outfielders are struggling? I'm telling you right now, if there's a righty pitcher and I've got struggling outfielders, I'm putting Marsh in center and Schwarber in left, and I'm not thinking twice with it, and I've got a Sosa or a Clemens or a Weston Wilson DHing, so I don't have Rojas and I don't have Austin Hayes if he's struggling.
No, I would not put Schwarber out in left.
I don't like it.
We think you're insane.
Well, let's just remember,
That's a great interaction.
They got further. They got further in the playoffs with Schwarber as their left fielder than Schwarber not as their left fielder. I mean, they got the
nothing
games
to do with him defensively.
Yeah, but I'll tell you what it had to do with. You didn't have an 0 for 4 in center field. You didn't have an 0 for 4 in left field.
Well, we'll see what happens.
All right, we will. All right, 215-592-9494. Rob Thompson with us in 10 minutes. Jason, you looking forward to the next month to watching all this? I mean, you know how it gets.
Absolutely. I'm looking forward to watching it, being in the city, being a part of it. This is, like I said, playoff baseball. This city, it's going to be exciting. It's going to be, the atmosphere is going to be incredible. I don't know I haven't been a lot of other places in the postseason, but this place is really special.
You know, did Jason, you like baseball when you were a kid?
I did.
Play it a lot?
Well, I played it up until I actually ripped the growth plate off my elbow pitching when I was younger.
Ooh, and that's pretty nasty.
Yeah.
So is that arm like smaller?
No, it's the same size, but whenever I get like an X-ray or an MRI, they're like, "Hey, you got like this, the part of your bone sticks off."
Like you have an arm deformity.
I do, and wow. I was actually very good at baseball.
I can
before
tell
that.
now.
And
now that I know that, I can tell.
Does one arm look shorter than the other, John?
Yeah, totally.
I'll never look at you the same
grotesque.
way. Yeah.
It's grotesque. Nice. FX special.
I see what you did there.
There you go.
I mean, maybe it was.
All right,
Nice
Rob Thompson with us in 5 minutes. Jason Kelce here now. We're at Chickies and Pete's, South Philly. Come on by. Let's go to JB. He's calling from Chestnut Hill. Good morning, JB.
Good morning, everyone. Good morning. Welcome to the panel there, Jason.
Thank you.
John.
What's up, JB?
Normally I give you like a fun fact, and I just had to like rack my brain for Cleveland stuff now because of Jason there. Do you know the traffic light was invented in Cleveland?
How about that?
Wow.
No.
That's a good one.
Yeah.
That is a
That's
good one.
incredible. What year was that?
I think the guy's name was Garrett something. It was like 1912. It was like the first working traffic signal. He gets credit to it.
Wow. All right,
That
JB,
is
give me what you,
the
JB,
origin
give me.
of Superman.
Hey, JB, talk Phillies or Eagles with me. What do you got?
Yeah, so you gotta. I was just gonna jump in about what you're talking about the platoon players in the outfield.
Yeah.
I mean, you can't. I mean, Schwarber's such a defensive liability. You can't take that chance of having him in left
But JB,
field.
is he more of a defensive liability than Rojas is an offensive liability? Now, I want you to really think about that.
Okay, so the way I think about it is he's still in the lineup as the DH, so we get his offensive ability, and we get Rojas' defensive ability. So
All right, okay, good question. I will phrase the question then this way.
Okay.
Is Schwarber's defense plus a Weston Wilson or Cody Clemens at bats better than Rojas offensively?
I think you got to use lean Rojas because you can use his speed on the bases.
But what if he never gets on base? I mean, JB, don't you remember? Look, I'm not saying it's impossible for him to get on base. I'm telling you this. I would go with Rojas in the first opportunity against a left-handed pitcher over Marsh. Right. But I am telling you, and we will talk to Rob Thompson about this in 5 minutes, if guys are struggling this October, I need quick changes. Not I'm going to wait 9 games. Not I'm going to wait till next year. I need decisions in the moment. This is an opportunity to win a World Series.
Joe, I think those changes that you're talking about are so niche that it really doesn't. If we're worried about Rojas, if we're worried that much of a difference between Rojas and the defensive liability of Schwarber in the outfield, there's a lot of big.
Well, JB, here's what I'm going to say, and Jason knows this better than anybody here, and John Ritchie knows this as a player as well. There is an incredibly thin margin in most instances between a team that wins a championship and doesn't. You can't come closer than the 22 Eagles did. And by the way, let's not kid ourselves. If the Eagles don't convert on 4th and 1 with 5 minutes to go in the 2017 Super Bowl, the Eagles probably lose the game. Yeah. Like, these things come down to inches. They come down to decisions. Like, there was a moment John Starks one time took a shot. If it goes in, Patrick Ewing's a champion. You know what happened? Hakeem blocked the ball.
No, with baseball, we saw it 2 years ago in the World Series. If Chas McCormick doesn't make that catch in center field, the Phillies probably win Game 5, and they're heading back to Houston up 3-2.
I mean, JB, that's why it's so critical Rob Thompson get it right. Ultimately, the players got to play, and they got to play well, but
yeah.
I'm not trying to jump on you here, man. I'm just saying I care about this stuff.
You're beating up the table, though, a lot over there.
All right, JB, give me an answer here for the tickets to Dane Cook. What's red?
How about Dorothy's Red Slippers?
Oh, yeah.
Wow.
Ooh, good one.
That is good. That is a good answer. So, Jason, can you describe from your vantage point, looking at 2017 and 2022, the thin line of difference between winning and losing?
I mean, obviously, you just pointed out really nicely with the 4th down calls, but in football, there's generally 2 to 3 plays that really end up determining who wins and loses a game. I mean, they all matter, but when you look back on it, there's like 2 or 3 instances where it's like, man, that if we just would have did that, we would have probably won that game. And in 2022, we had those 2. I mean, it was a close game. Both of them were just like offensive juggernauts of games where not a lot of defensive play. Very exciting to watch and play in as an offensive player. But, I think it's hard. And generally, the team that makes the fewer mistakes in the clutch moments end up winning games. And everybody Kansas City Chiefs and Pat Mahomes, one of the reasons that they continue to win, one of the reasons they're 4-0 is because in critical moments they don't make mistakes. And people can talk about how the officials are on their side and talk about how they have all these advantages and the league wants them to win, and that might be true. But I think what's more true is that Pat Mahomes and these guys really, when it matters most, operate and execute at a better level than the opponents. And that's why those quarterbacks and those players get paid and those coaches get paid the kind of contracts they do.
Sure do.
Is to make those clutch plays when it matters.